Hey guys, Sam Gourley here from Imagine Therapies again. Welcome to tonight's webinar. Hope you're tuning in, whether it be via Google Plus or YouTube, that you enjoy this presentation. Tonight's webinar is the Imagine Therapies Early Intervention program. This is the fourth webinar that we've ever done as Imagine Therapies. We are quite enjoying them. We're getting really great feedback, so hopefully you guys are enjoying them too. You'll notice if you're tuning in via Google Plus that on the right hand side of the window there's a group chat option. Feel free to post on there where you're tuning in from, how old your child is if you have a child with autism, and some of that information. It's just handy for us to know. Also, as we go through the presentation, if you have any questions or if there's anything that you're wondering about, you can feel free to post it in the group chat option. If you're tuning in via YouTube, if you jump on Facebook and just Google search Imagine Therapies Early Intervention, you'll find our early intervention program page. You'll notice that I've just posted on that page about 5 minutes ago. And I've noted on there that if you'd like to ask questions, you can post it in the comments section of that Facebook page. And that way I'll be able to watch the Facebook stream as it comes through and answer your questions as they come in. So I hope you enjoy this program. And yeah, let's get into it. This is one that we've opened up with in all the webinars that we've done so far. It's a quote by Dr. Stanley Greenspan. So he was a real pioneer in the field of relationship-based early intervention for children with autism. And one of the quotes that he gave, which is quite famous now actually, he says, "All children have within them the potential to be great kids. It's our job to create a great world where this potential can flourish." And that is particularly true when it comes to early intervention or kids, with varying needs and with that whole factor of neurodiversity and things like that. So it's really important that we, as adults, as carers, as parents, as leaders, create a world where the potential of our children can really flourish. That's something that I really love. So who are we? We are a private provider of allied health services to children in southeast Queensland. We have a clinic in Brightwater on the Sunshine Coast, which is our head office. And we also have a clinic just about to open in Highgate Hill down in Brisbane. We offer occupational therapy, speech therapy, psychology and case coordinator services for children and their families. So that's at both our clinics. We offer those three disciplines. We are also early intervention provider panel members, which means that we're registered to be providers of services so that you guys can access your Helping Children with Autism funding through our service as well. We also do lots of clinic, school and early learning centre based therapy, as well as consultation services, most often to schools. And yeah, lots of really fantastic things. And we as a company have grown a lot in the last few years. Feel free to check out our website, www.imaginetherapies.com.au. We'll talk about the website a little bit as we go, but there's some really fantastic resources there for parents, or if you're an early learning centre teacher or just a primary school teacher. There's different areas on there which you might find really helpful. So feel free to check that out. So tonight in this webinar, we're going to talk about the early intervention program. And we're going to cover why there's a need for the program, how important parent involvement in early intervention for children with autism, how important that really is. We're going to talk about how the program was developed and how it will be delivered. We're going to talk about the advantages that it will have for parents and families, especially those in rural and remote areas, but also to those in urban areas. So we'll talk about that a bit more. And we'll also talk about how to find out more information about the program or how to subscribe as we go through the presentation as well. Okay, so in our time, as we've been doing early intervention for children with autism. What we've had the blessing of being able to do is to collaborate and to work with hundreds of parents and families. There's no way around it, really. When it comes to a diagnosis of ASD in a child, it is something that will impact more than just that child's life. It usually has some kind of effect on particularly the parents and also the family, the siblings, things like that. We noticed that parents and families, they had common challenges. So there were things that were fairly consistently issues with, in most families, of when a child had been diagnosed with ASD. Here are some of the ways here we've listed on the slide: impact on parents. So things like, there tends to be lots of different meetings. Parents tend to feel the need to do lots of online research or researching in books, trying to figure out the best way to support their child. Often it's difficult to explain the diagnosis to family members, especially if they don't have a background in, having ever had much dealing with children with ASD. It's difficult to choose an approach to, manage home programs from your various health professionals that you might be visiting with. Things like coordinating with schools can be particularly difficult, especially if you feel your school isn't really on board, or if your teacher's unprepared and things like that. Often in Australia, we're very fortunate that the federal government provides financial support for families that have a child with autism. And however, when parents realise that they have access to that funding, sometimes it's a little bit daunting to figure out how to use that funding in the most effective and efficient way. That's something that we see all the time. Other things, simply fitting in with normal activities of daily living, and particularly with regard to siblings. Having another child with ASD will often impact that. And again, impact on siblings. Often siblings have trouble understanding. They're not getting as much parental attention as their brother or sister. Often they can feel a lack of connection with that child, and sometimes it can lead to missed opportunities of their own, and we do see that in siblings quite often. One of the things that we've realised is parents need the fundamental knowledge of evidence-based intervention for children with ASD. There's really no way around it. Parents are the most powerful tool in helping their children progress towards their therapy goals. And what we've found is that parents who have a child who's just been diagnosed, they're not necessarily allied health professionals. They're not necessarily pediatricians. They don't know all about autism. Some don't feel like they know very much at all about autism. And what we found is that the parents who have that fundamental knowledge, all of that basic really important fundamental knowledge and wisdom, they're the ones who really are able to support their children through this, the journey ahead. We also found that parents need all the resources and support readily available when they need them. So we found that parents were tending to go everywhere on the internet trying to find reliable information that was evidence-based and that agrees with their values, and we realised that parents need all the resources at hand, at their disposal, at whatever time they need them. So with this in mind, we've also looked at the research, and we know as health professionals that the research has proved that parental involvement in early intervention leads to the best outcomes. So as parents are involved, if they are working towards the same goals as the health professionals or the other people supporting their child, the outcomes are usually achieved faster or better to a higher level. Consistency is the key when it comes to early intervention, and often one thing that we've noticed is, we can implement a strategy in the clinic, but if it's not consistently followed at home, then it's often falls by the wayside, and it's just written off to say it doesn't work. But the consistency is key, and if parents are involved with these strategies, if they are involved in participating, then the outcomes are achieved faster. Now, home programs help, and they're great, but sometimes more is needed. Sometimes just having a home program that's been provided by your OT, your speechy, your psychologist, your behaviour therapist, whoever, sometimes it's just not quite enough. So this program, we're hoping will launch in 2016 in March, and will be available nationally. So it's an online training and support program for parents and carers, and also siblings. And what we've done is we've taken information from the 3 disciplines that we offer in our company, our occupational therapy, speech pathology, and clinical psychology. We've taken all of the best early intervention information that we have from those 3 disciplines, and we've developed an online program that parents can use. The goal is that parents and siblings will have all the fundamental knowledge required to be the greatest influence in helping their child reach their goals. And essentially, what we're trying to do is we're upskilling parents to have the skills of a transdisciplinary therapy assistant. So I guess what we're saying here is that, we have an online program that we've developed, which will give you the skills to be a therapy assistant at home, essentially. So you'll be able to take instruction from your OT or speechy, your psychologist, and you'll have the essential skills to be able to follow through with activities at home. We're focusing on web-based content delivery, so we're using the internet as a tool to deliver training. So this webinar that we're doing, and actually the few webinars that we've done over the last few weeks, they have been examples of how the program will be delivered. So it's web-based content delivery, which means that it really gives an opportunity for people in rural or remote areas to participate in the training as well, which we'll talk a bit more about. So it'll be a combination of live and recorded webinars. Some will be live and will have question and answer components. Some will be on demand. And there'll also be resources available that you can print, which we'll talk a little bit more about as well. Along with these things, we also have, a case coordinator service for all people who subscribe to the program. We're also offering child group therapy and assessment, which are available in person or via Skype or telehealth. So we'll talk a bit more about these things as well. So the web-based content. So basically, here's an example of our website. This is www.imaginetherapies.com.au. Basically, once you subscribe to the program, you will be given a secure login. And when you log in, you'll be able to access webinars, recorded presentations, which have been created by a number of different allied health professionals. So all of the content that will be on there will be, quality checked to make sure that it is evidence-based and that it is accurate. You'll also have the opportunity to, like I mentioned before, there'll be online resources that you can access through this. So, printable activity pages and things like that. But there'll also be a forum. You'll have the opportunity to connect with other parents to ask questions of the community on there, and you'll be able to get really quick responses to any questions that you post in the forum. Those of you who subscribe will have access to any past content on demand. So even the live webinars that are recorded, you'll be able to access them anytime and play them anytime. And that's one of the things that we really wanted to ensure that it was convenient, that you can sit down at night once the kids have gone to bed, sit on the couch, you can turn on the content, and you can do an hour or so of autism-based training. Every month we'll have a theme. So like I mentioned, we're hoping to launch in March, and we'll be talking about understanding autism, just the basics around a diagnosis with ASD. And you can see here as we go through, we cover a whole range of areas which are, most significant when we consider children with ASD. And when we're talking about early intervention services, often in the early intervention services that we provide, these are the things that we focus on. So for each month, there's a theme, and here's an example of one of those months. So one of the months that I'll be presenting on is developing motor skills. So that's the theme. And what we'll have is every single week of that month, there'll be a different webinar. So week 1, there's going to be a webinar on how motor skills develop between infancy and 5. So we'll talk about all those things for about an hour in a webinar presentation. And what you'll be able to do then is there'll be online printable resources associated with that. So you'll have a milestone checklist and a list of activity ideas. So you can literally watch this at night, print those things off, and in the morning you can apply the things that you learnt in that webinar. Week 2, we'll talk about supporting gross motor development, and we'll go into depth in that presentation on what gross motor skills are and how we develop them. And then again, you'll have online resources that you can print off and you can apply there, the next day. And the same with week 3 and week 4, and they, each one builds on the previous, and then, in the last week, often you'll find that we'll run it as a live webinar, and you'll have the opportunity to ask questions and to engage with each other and interact. This is an example of the resources that you'll have access to for each month. So the resources will be available via the secure login. They will continue to be available to be accessed on demand after their month of release, and it will be a combination of some original content, so resources that we have specifically designed. Others will be the best things from around the internet, from the best authors who will be credited, obviously. And yeah, so all of the best information from around the internet you'll have access to in one place. You won't have to do endless searches to gather all the information. It'll all be there for you. And like I mentioned, it'll all be drawing on evidence-based approaches. And that's something that we really value at Imagine Therapies, making sure that everything that we do for these wonderful children that we help has been shown in evidence to be effective. So every child who is subscribed to the plan, or every family I should say, will be given an individual therapy plan, which will be created by a team of allied health professionals, and it will be implemented by a case coordinator, or for families in rural and remote areas, it will be implemented by the parent, but guided by a case coordinator via Skype. The case coordinator is assigned to each family, so there'll be so the case coordinators are trained allied health assistants that have hands-on experience in delivering early intervention for children with autism. So even if you live in a rural or remote area, you'll have access to a case coordinator who is a trained allied health assistant. For children in areas close to one of our clinics, so on the Sunshine Coast, anywhere between Sunshine Coast and Highgate Hill in Brisbane, or any future clinics that open while the program is running, there'll be the subscribed children will have access to group sessions, so group sessions for the children. That'll be facilitated by your family's case coordinator. So you'll be able to go and see your case coordinator in person at the clinic. There'll be, say, 3 other kids, and together your case coordinator will take them and work on collective goals. You'll have the option of regular direct therapy by the allied health team, including Skype or telehealth consultations. So that's if you feel you'd like more interaction directly from the therapists, then that's something that you can have access through your subscription to the program. And that can also be via Skype or telehealth. So it may be that you live in a rural or remote area, your child has specific difficulty with speech and language. You'll be able to have more interaction with a speech therapist if that's something that you would like, if that's something that you'd like to access through your subscription. Like I mentioned, there'll also be Skype telehealth support consultations that can be held with the case coordinator or allied health professional periodically. So the advantages of this program, mainly is that parents learn the hands-on skills that they can use every day. So, we give these children goals, we say what we would like them to do. We're equipping parents to have the hands-on skills to help their child reach their goals and to be the main driving force behind that progression. We fully anticipate that parents are going to learn strategies which are going to mean that they and their family can do things that they've never been able to do before. So, for example, managing problem behaviours. You're going to have skills that you're going to be able to use in a very practical way every single day, which potentially have the potential to change your life. This program can be used to complement any other early intervention approach that you're already using. So this is complementary to whatever, if you are working with a team, if you've already got a really good program in place, if you've chosen an early intervention approach already that you really like, that fits well with your values, well, this only complements that. It doesn't take anything away. It just means that you as parents will have the opportunity to become an even greater influence, in whatever capacity. All of the information presented is created and reviewed by allied health professionals, and it's all based on the best available evidence. And we're going to be consistently updating it, on a very regular basis to make sure that it's all the most accurate information. One of the advantages of this program as well, something that's missing in the early intervention world, is that the focus is not just on the child, but it's also on supporting parents and siblings. And like I mentioned before, all the information and resources that you need are compiled into one place. There's no more need to, search the internet for reliable information, because it'll all be accessible for you through your secure login. What I really like about this program as well is that, it provides opportunity for fathers in particular to get involved, or whoever the main working parent is in a family. Often they're the person who doesn't get to go to the appointments and receive the instruction from the different therapists, or they don't have the opportunity to be engaged in whatever program in the same way. The benefit of this program is that, once the kids are asleep, mum and dad, or, dad's just gotten home from work, or whatever the situation, both can sit down and they can do the training together. There's no need for, one spouse to be, trying to explain information that they got from their therapist today to their other spouse at the end of the day. That's something that you can sit down and you can log on and you can do together. The content will be accessible anytime, day or night, and you'll have the opportunity to connect with other families in similar situations via the online forum. And that's something that we really hope we'll be able to facilitate for you guys. So, other families who are in a similar situation, we would love to be able to connect you with other people so that you can get some peer support that way. So one of the other benefits is, for example, when it comes to your child starting school, or if there's a big event or a critical time that you're concerned about, you'll be able to tap into a network of expertise during that time. So, for example, school has just gone back up here in Queensland, and a lot of our kids with ASD that we've been providing early intervention support for have gone to school for the first time. And for the parents of the children that we work with, it's been really fantastic that they've been able to get support from their therapist during this period. And that's something that we want to make available to all of our subscribers to the program. The early intervention support programs currently around really are not very accessible for rural and remote families. And we've designed this program with these families in mind, considering that people in these communities have trouble accessing, therapy services because, the disciplines just aren't there. It may mean a very long drive if you are going to meetings every week or therapy sessions. The benefit of this program is that we'll be delivering the skills and the knowledge to you, parents, directly, and then you'll be able to do the therapy with your child at home. So that's all the information that I have about the early intervention program. If you'd like to know some more information, just email your contact details, including your geographical region, to iteip@imaginetherapies.com.au. If you share a little bit about your personal situation if you'd like, and a representative will be in touch, and it'll probably be me. I'll contact you, we'll have a talk about your subscription options, hopefully schedule a face-to-face meeting where we can talk about how to use your funding to get on the program. Another thing you can do is keep your eye on the website and join our mailing list through the website, or check out our Facebook page, or follow us on Instagram. We post fairly frequently on social media, so if you're wanting updates on the program, that's a really good way you can get them. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this presentation. I hope that you feel like this program is something that could support you or your family. And yeah, feel free to contact us. We look forward to hearing from you soon. Thanks very much.